The night did not arrive quietly. It crept over the valley like a held breath. Sodom still glittered beneath the stars, markets closed, doors barred, laughter fading into sleep. The city believed it had survived another day. It always did, and it always assumed tomorrow would come the same. But heaven was already moving. Far from the city lights, a man stood beneath the open sky, an old man, weathered by years of walking with a God he could not see but had learned to trust. His eyes were fixed toward the valley, toward Sodom, and his heart was heavy. The Lord had spoken to him, not in thunder, not in fire, but in words that cut deeper than any storm. A cry had risen from the cities of the plain, a cry so weighty it reached the throne of heaven. Not a single voice, not one scream, but the accumulated echo of injustice, violence, and corruption, piling up day after day, year after year. And God had come down to see. The judge of all the earth had drawn near. Abraham stood in the tension between what he knew God was and what God was about to do. Fire had not yet fallen. Mercy was still breathing. So Abraham stepped forward. "Will you sweep away the righteous with the wicked?" he asked. It was not accusation, it was intercession. What followed was one of the most staggering conversations ever recorded between God and man. A negotiation, not born of arrogance but of compassion. Abraham pleaded for the innocent, for the unseen, for those who might still be hiding beneath the city's decay. If there are 50 righteous, 45, 40, 30, 20, 10. Each number fell like a heartbeat, and God listened. 10. If 10 righteous souls could be found in Sodom, the city would stand. 10 was not a large number. In a city overflowing with people, 10 should have been easy, but heaven already knew the answer. As Abraham fell silent, the moment passed. The conversation ended, and the Lord departed. Meanwhile, 2 strangers entered the city gates at dusk. They looked like travelers, dust on their sandals, cloaks worn by the road. Nothing about them screamed judgment. Nothing about them warned of fire. Lot saw them first. He rose quickly, too quickly. His urgency betrayed something deeper than hospitality. He had lived in Sodom long enough to know the night was dangerous, especially for outsiders. He bowed, he pleaded, he insisted they come under his roof. Reluctantly, they agreed, and the door barely closed behind them before the city revealed its heart. Men surrounded the house, young and old, from every corner. Voices raised, not in confusion, not in curiosity, but in demand, a hunger that had long outgrown shame. The night pulsed with violence. Lot stood between the door and the crowd, a man caught between compromise and conscience. His words fell useless to the ground. The city did not listen anymore. It had trained itself not to. Then the strangers moved. Hands reached out. Lot was pulled back inside. The door slammed shut, and blindness fell over the crowd. Sudden, terrifying, complete. Men groped in the darkness, still searching for the door they could no longer find. And in that moment, the truth was revealed. The strangers spoke. "We are not who you think we are." The cry against the city has become great before the Lord. The verdict had been written long before this night. Judgment was no longer approaching. It was already at the door. Lot was told to gather whoever belonged to him. Sons, daughters, anyone who would listen, anyone willing to leave. But when he warned them, they laughed. Judgment always sounds like a joke, until it doesn't. Morning came with urgency, not sunlight, pressure. The angels grabbed Lot's hands, his wife's hands, his daughter's hands. They did not wait for agreement. Mercy pulled them forward. "Run," they said. "Do not look back. Do not stop." Because hesitation had become deadly. As the first rays of dawn touched the city, heaven opened. Fire fell, not randomly, not chaotically, but deliberately. Sulfur and flame rained down, buildings collapsed, the ground ruptured. What had been solid melted into ruin. The cities of the plain, Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, were undone in a moment. The valley became a furnace, and somewhere on the road one heart turned backward. One glance, one longing look at a life left behind. And Lot's wife became a pillar of salt, not because God was cruel, but because her heart was still anchored to what was being destroyed. Judgment does not ask permission, it moves forward. Smoke rose from the land like the smoke of a furnace. Abraham stood again on the hills, watching, silent. He saw the valley burn, and he knew, not 10, not even 10, but even in judgment mercy had not been absent. Lot lived, scarred, broken, carrying loss heavier than what he had escaped, because salvation does not always feel victorious. Sometimes it feels like survival. And the land was quiet again. Where cities once stood, nothing remained. Ash covered memory. But the story does not end with fire, because Sodom is not just a city, it is a mirror. It is what happens when sin becomes normalized, when conscience is silenced, when warnings are mocked, when mercy is mistaken for delay. God did not destroy Sodom because he is impatient. He destroyed it because the city refused to repent. Judgment came only after mercy was exhausted. And yet, this story is not meant to leave us staring at ruins. It is meant to ask us a question. What kind of city are we building? What kind of hearts are we forming? Are we laughing at warnings or listening? Because the same God who rained fire is the God who listened to Abraham. The same God who judged the city is the God who rescued a family. The same God who ended Sodom is the God who would later send his Son, not to rain fire from heaven, but to bear judgment himself. Sodom fell because righteousness could not be found. The cross stands because righteousness came. Judgment is real, but mercy still speaks, and the door is still open. For now.